Welcome to Angel K TV.
Hi family, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. I'm Angel and this is Angel K TV. Today we're going to be talking about past tenses. Now, I did do a part 1 and a part 2, which was on present tenses. So it's technically a video on present tenses, but I did it into two parts. So basically, part 1 and part 2. So part 1, we did present simple and then present perfect. And then in part 2, we did present perfect continuous and then present continuous. So if you guys haven't checked that video out, I think you guys should watch that video before watching this one. All right, if that video is not out yet, because sometimes I might make a mistake and sometimes I just pick any video I see. But anyways, let's just get into past tenses, shall we? All right, so for today's video we are going to be covering past simple and past perfect. Okay, so let's start with past simple. And you guys know what past tense means, right? Basically something that happened in the past, right? It's used to describe an action that has already happened. So like we said, something that happened in the past. The structure is subject plus verb in past form. Let me give you guys some examples. I bought a new pen. He ate his lunch in the cafeteria. We visited Paris last week. She bought a new car. As you can see, the structure, like we talked about, is subject plus verb in past form. What is subject here? I, she, he, they, we, you. These are all subjects, okay? These are examples of subjects. And then we have verb in past form. So you know buy is the main form, right? The main verb, more of. So you're going to see it more often, right? And then the past form of buy is basically bought, all right? She bought, they bought, we bought. And if you go back to that example, which said we visited Paris last week. Last week, in the past. Last week. We're not visiting Paris, which is in the future. We visited Paris. Visited, visited, visit, visited, visit, visited, will visit. I'm basically giving you guys a heads up on future tenses because I've technically done present tenses. But will is for the future. We'll do this. The past is visited. We visited Paris last week. All right? It's not we will visit Paris next week, because of course you can't say we will visit Paris last week. No, last week, visited. Last week, all in the past, right? Now, something I want to point out is something called irregular verbs. If you guys don't know what irregular verbs are, well, they basically have different past forms. All right, that might not be the exact definition of irregular verbs, but that's something to keep in mind, okay? And I think I will be doing a video on irregular verbs, hopefully. But anyways, irregular verbs are things like ate and eaten, right? Because ate is the past tense of eat. And then we have eaten, which is basically past participle, all right? So different past forms. These are examples of irregular verbs. We have more examples like drink, drank, drunk, sing, sang, song, write, wrote, written. These are all examples of irregular verbs. As you can see, write, drink, sing. These are normal verbs, right? Main verbs. We can call them main verbs. And then we have wrote, drank, song. These are basically past verbs, right? So basically something that happened in the past. And then we have written, drunk, song. These are past participles, all right? So these are examples of irregular verbs. Hopefully I can be able to make a video on irregular verbs, but for now, I just wanted you guys to keep that in mind. All right, now let's move on to past perfect, which is basically used to describe an action that had already happened before another action, which also happened in the past, took place. So basically, the action was completed before another action, also in the past, happened. All right, but I hope you guys understand. So let's move on to the structure, which is basically subject plus had plus verb past participle. And as you can see that our irregular verb, that our past participle we mentioned in the examples, as you can see, is also being mentioned here. So that's why it's important to know these past participles in irregular verbs, because they could come in handy. I will also be putting some of them on the screen for you guys in case you guys just want to take a look at them or at least just know at least some of them. Okay, But now let me give you guys some examples to make it more clear on past perfect. After Amy had finished her work, she had went to lunch. I washed the floor when the painter had gone. My mom hadn't packed my lunch, so I had to prepare it myself. I lived in London before I moved to Paris. Now, as you can see, these are all examples of past perfect because, like we said, it was an action that was completed, but basically in the past before another action also took place in the past. Like, for instance, the first example, which said after Amy had finished her work, she went to lunch. Now, first of all, what I want to point out is that we are also following the structure, right? Because subject, which is Amy, John, Amy, Natalie. These are all examples of subjects, okay? So not just pronouns, also names. These are examples of subjects. Because if you're really saying Amy, you're technically are saying her. Or maybe you're saying you, me, or something like that, right? Because Amy is also a girl's name. All right? Amy, she. Amy, her. All right, so whenever we talk about subject, it's also inclusive of names. Okay, so subject plus had, Amy had, after Amy had finished, which is past participle, her work, she went to lunch. And basically, like we said, an action that was completed in the past before another action that was also completed in the past happened. After Amy had finished her work, she had went to lunch. So maybe your coworker comes to you and is like, where's Amy? I'm looking for her. Or even your classmate, and you're like, well, Amy, after she had finished her work, she went to the cafeteria. So whether it was 2 hours ago, an hour ago, 2 minutes ago, 25 minutes ago, 2 seconds, 6 seconds ago, she still went to lunch, right? She went to the cafeteria. She went to go get lunch. So basically, the action was completed, which is basically after Amy had finished her work. She completed her work, right? She finished her work. They didn't say she hasn't finished her work. She has finished her work, which is also in the past, right? She went to go get lunch. So she went to the cafeteria, which is also in the past. She's already gone to the cafeteria. So as we're speaking, she's probably in the cafeteria or on her way to the cafeteria. So with the other two examples, such as my mom hadn't packed my lunch, so I had to prepare it myself. As you can see, my mom didn't pack my lunch, so maybe, yeah, I came to school late, for instance, and then my classmate or you came to school late, and then your classmate is asking you, why are you late today? And you're like, well, my mom hadn't packed my lunch. She didn't pack my lunch, was completed in the past, so I had to pack it myself. I still packed my lunch. You still packed your lunch, right? Your lunch was prepared. Your mom didn't prepare it, you prepared it yourself, and you brought it to school. So you're with your lunch prepared, right? So an action that was done in the past, followed by an action that also happened in the past. So an action that was completed in the past before another action happened, which is also in the past. All right, which is basically the same thing as the other one, right? I had lived in London before I moved to Paris. So let's say I'm having a conversation with someone and they're like, "Oh, when did you move here?" and stuff like that. Maybe my neighbor or something. She was absent that time. And then I was like, just telling her my old backstory and stuff like that. And then I mentioned, "Oh, actually I used to live in London pretty much my whole entire life, completed in the past before I moved to Paris. Maybe not 2 weeks ago, not 2 days ago. It hasn't even been up to 2 days. So pretty much 2 days ago, 2 weeks ago, you can even say 2 years ago, depending how long your neighbor was gone for a vacation. So yeah, the point is the action I had lived in London was completed before another action I moved to Paris happened, which is also in the past, right? All right, family. So that is it for this topic on past tenses. For now, remember, I do have a part 2. I'm going to be covering the rest of the two in my next video, which will come out soon, maybe like next week or so. But obviously, when you're watching this, it's probably not yet out. In fact, I probably even haven't edited it yet. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys feel like I missed anything out or you still don't understand anything, remember to tell me in the comment section below and I will make sure to reply and answer your comments. So yeah, that is it for today's video. Remember to recommend me some videos, anything you want to see, really, if it has to do with learning. If it doesn't, that's fine. All right, just recommend me anything you really want to see. Hopefully, I will be able to make a video on that. And yeah, this it for today's video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, of course, if you did enjoy this video. And I will see you guys next time in my next video, family. Bye. Don't forget to stay safe. And for those of you who are new, don't worry, you will be getting to know me soon and probably get to know more about me. But that is it for today's video, y'all. I said y'all, but stay safe.